So at the Stormblood Media Tour, we were introduced to a bevy of new user experiences coming out with the expansion in about a month. And there are so many things that we could go over and that they went over in the live letter and the presentation that they gave us at the media tour. So much so that they included a slide just for user interface changes. So when I found out that user interface and user experience improvements were going to be a big part of this new expansion, I wanted to dedicate my time during the media tour to try and find as many of those as possible. Yoshi P said during the presentation and the live letter that there was a and more bit. So there are a lot of user interface changes that will be saved for the patch notes. So we had access to a limited set of windows, and I tried to look for as many changes as I could within those. So rather than get ahead of ourselves, I have 9 user experience changes that I do want to talk about in this video. So, ready to talk user experience? All right, let's go. So this isn't a top 9 list of features you can expect in Shadowbringers because obviously there are probably ones that are hidden in the patch notes to come in about a month that we don't know of yet. So we're gonna go over 9 of the features that I did find during the media tour and hopefully elaborate on them a little to you. We did do a couple deep dives on some of these topics, and if there's a video applicable to that topic, I'll put a note in the top corner here and in the description so you guys can bookmark that, watch it now or watch it later. So at number 9, let's start with redesigned job gauges. And we all know that job gauges came in with Stormblood patch 4.0. There were a lot of smaller changes that happened to job gauges in Shadowbringers. For example, the removal of offensive tank stance gauges, the addition of the Seraphim gauge to the Scholar, and of course the addition of the Phoenix gauge to the Summoner. But the one I actually want to pick out for this little bit is the Machinist's gauge. And I thought this was a really good redesign. Of course, Machinist has been redone in Shadowbringers. It's a completely different class. So kind of comparing the gauges is not, it's a bit of more of an apple to oranges comparison, but I still kind of want to take a look at it because you do still have the heat gauge in one sense or another. In the Stormblood version of the Machinist heat gauge, you had 3 numbers and a visual gauge to kind of pull from. You had the gauge of temperature as well as a number showing what the temperature of your barrel was. You had the countdown after you overheated before your damage buff would go, and you had the countdown that would happen after you used Hotshot. But it was all kind of, I believe it was overdone. It was a bit too clever, and it never really fit amongst a lot of the gauges, which sort of had one main thing that they did well. We could call out the Black Mage's job gauge as well. It is very convoluted, and they do stuff a lot of information into one gauge, but that's another story for another video and another time. What really caught my eye about the new Machinist gauge was the way they simplified it. We have the battery gauge, which you can use when full to call Automaton Queen, and while the redesign still has 4 numbers for you to deal with, the design is limited to 2 types of elements, a bar and a timer. At any rate, it's a much more compact and discernible design than the old one, and I think it synergizes really well with the rework of Machinist. At number 8, we have the Party Bonus UI redesign. It was mentioned in the live letter that the party bonus of old would be going away, and that you'd get a buff to all of your main attributes, the size of which would depend on how your party was composed. The new Party Bonus UI makes it pretty clear what you need and what bonus you'll actually receive as you meet those new requirements, unlike the old system where it was a little bit opaque. At number 7 is the casting interruption bar. While the bar itself was also mentioned in the live letter, it was presented as a static image. The pulsing box animation, as you can see here, that happens is very loud and very overt and should catch your eye fairly easily. Either way, if you haven't done so already, Shadowbringers will present a great opportunity for you to go into your HUD layout, take that target bar, split it into the 3 pieces you can split it into, and take the casting bar and move it into a place that's readily visible, because that's going to help a lot. At number 6 is the Overshield display. This was one of the first UI improvements we received all the way back during Yoshi P's Las Vegas FanFest keynote. If you have a shield or barrier applied, you'll see a yellow bar either to the side or to the top of the HP bar if it happens to be full in the party list. That way, it's now explicit in how much shielding you have at any given time. The design of the new party list element has been a little bit divisive, but as for me, in my opinion, it does a great job of doing exactly what Yoshi P said it would do, which is displaying shields and giving that information to you quickly and at a glance. Number 5 is 15 Glamour plates. Since the addition of the Glamour Dresser and Glamour plates in Stormblood, people simply wanted more plates. With Shadowbringers, you now get 15 plates. Granted, it's not enough to actually allow every job to get its own linked Glamour plate, but 15 is a nice incremental addition that I hope they'll expand on in patches to come. At number 4 is Achievement Window Quality of Life changes. Achievements got a great overhaul during Stormblood. We saw the elimination of veteran rewards, and we could use achievement points and achievement tokens to collect items from an NPC in Gridania. And there are some incremental changes to the achievement window made in Shadowbringers that I found with the help of my friend Sophie. In the achievements window, you can now bookmark achievements and they'll appear in a watch list at the top of the sidebar in the achievements window. More filtering options were added as well, so you can filter achievements by those that have item rewards and those that have title rewards. If you're hunting for either or both of those things, the new filters, in addition to the new watch list and bookmarking features, should streamline that entire process. And at number 3, decimal points. Now, when they announced this change during the live letter, they framed it in a very specific manner. They were like, don't you remember those 1% wipes? How about if you could see a 0.1% wipe? And they showed the image and we all got a good laugh out of it. When I saw this, I thought that they had just added a decimal point in general for the entire bar. But nope, they only added it for numbers less than 1%. So they added it just for the use case that they were talking about. Can't wait for those 0.1% wipes. Can't wait to see 0.01 in the future. At number 2, the new MP display. I say MP display and not MP cap because a cap is the wrong way to look at this. Yes, they capped MP at 10,000, but if you were to drop the last 2 numbers, as you can see in this shot, you'll see that they put emphasis on the 100, and they actually changed the entire system around MP. Of course, since capping it would require those changes, they changed the entire system to reflect what I call a percentage-based bar. They turned the MP bar into a percentage-based bar, and they put emphasis on the 100 so that the MP you have will always be a readable percentage value, and the skills that have been changed, also you can knock 2 zeros off of those, and you can read those as percentages as well. So when I realized that this is what they meant with that change, it blew my mind because it was purely a change made for user experience rather than other stories I'd heard where capping MP would be more of a preventative measure to prevent people from gaining too much MP. The usability around this is awesome. And other than the next one, this is probably my favorite change. I can't help but, applaud the UI team and the user experience team over at Square for doing an amazing job with this. And, I honestly hope it pans out the way I thought. Otherwise, I'm gonna be eating some namazu for dinner. So we're at number 1, the final change that we found in the media tour build of the game. But I'm gonna have to show you this one first. So dozo. How cool is that? Want to see it again? Let's see it again. Isn't it cool? I don't know. I had multiple members of the community team behind me when I got to this point in the dungeon. And when I saw the name come up, I had the biggest smile on my face because it's things like that I wished existed in the entirety of the game. I mean, imagine when you meet Ultima for the first time and you see Ultima pop up as the name, taking a page from Ocarina of Time and the other Zelda games and get countless games that have done it since. I wish they had done it for every boss, but I'll take the Shadowbringers ones. So thank you, Square, for that. So that does it for the UX change rundown. Once again, I've gone into a deep dive on some of these topics that we just talked about, and I'll have the links to those in the description below. The team of UI artists, designers, and programmers have really been giving it their all for Shadowbringers, and it really shows the nuances, the amount of thought that they're putting into the systems like the MP display, and just some fun stuff like the dungeon boss introductions. I'm excited to see what all of it is, and I'm really excited to see what's to come after release as we, start marching down that road to the next expansion. Please support all the content creators that are putting out amazing videos and streams in the wake of the media tour, and please look forward to all the content we'll have coming out of here regarding the user experience of Final Fantasy XIV. I can't wait to see you in the next video, as I love doing these. But until then,